the first big book of Who, part 3 or part 4. I don't really know what it is, but part 3 or part 4. So, we are going to talk about Matthew Henson. By the late 1800s, the North Pole was one of the few places from the many countries failed and to try to reach it. One of the most determined was an American admiral, Robert E. Peary. Reaching the North Pole was Peary's life goal. Luckily, Peary had a secret weapon, a man named Matthew Henson. Matthew Henson, on the deck of Roosevelt, 1906. I felt proudly grateful I had the honor of respecting my race. Explorer, born August 1866, died March 9, 1955. She was the first person to reach the North Pole. Henson had been orphaned when he was 11 years old. He then worked as a ship's cabin boy for 6 years. That time he had learned to read, write, navigate by the stars, sailors, knots, and fix just about anything. By the late 1908, Henson had assisted Peary on seven failed tries for the North Pole. Matthew Henson was successful at something else. He had become friends with the Eskimos group of the North Pole who lived near the North Pole. He had learned their language, customs, and survival skills. He knew how to build and drive a dog sled, how to build an igloo, and how to hunt. Henson's friendship with the Eskimos and survival skills they taught him would help him and Peary achieve their goal of reaching the North Pole. Inuit, also known as Eskimos, are people who live in northern Canada, northern Greenland, and parts of Alaska. It was many years before Henson got the recognition he deserved. On April 9, 1909, Henson, Peary, 4 Inuit guides, and 40 dogs finally reached the North Pole. They traveled across ice for 6 weeks. They survived hunger and weakness, 10 snowstorms, below freezing temperatures, Peary and below was freezing temperature. Peary was 45 minutes behind Henson. He was being pulled by the sled because he had lost 8 toes to frostbite on an earlier trip. Even though Matthew Henson reached the North Pole first, he was not given credit because he was an African American. At this time, African Americans didn't get the credit they deserved. Perry was the one who received a medal from the President Theodore Roosevelt. Do you know that Theodore is also something from some video? See, the Theodore is from Alvin and the Chipmunks. And if you don't want to watch this video, go watch that video instead. So, let's continue. Perry was the one who received the medal from President Theodore Roosevelt. Perry also went down in the history books as the first man to go to the North Pole. Today, scientists aren't so sure Perry and Henson reached the exact North Pole. This spot is hard to pinpoint since it is not land but drifting sea ice. Matthew Henson was the first one to get there. Mary Curry. Mary Slokowska wanted to study in the University of Warsaw in the Poland, but it was an all-male school, so they wouldn't let her in. So instead, she traveled to France and studied in the University of Paris. While there, Mary met a young scientist, Perry Curry. He would eventually become his husband. They would become two most famous scientists in the world. One never notices what has been done. One can only see what remains to be done. Curry in her lab, 1905. Radioactivity fascinated Curry. She wanted to know all about it. Mary Curry and Perry worked hard to learn everything they could together, along with other scientists. Henry Becquerel, who had first discovered radioactivity. They won a Nobel Prize in physics. As you know that the P and H is not pronounced, but it's F. So you put an F here. It's just making the sound that is PH for F. Curry worked every day with radioactive materials. She carried test tubes of radium in the pockets of her lab coat. This constantly exposed her body to high levels of radiation. Unfortunately, scientists didn't realize it was deadly until much later. Curry loved science research and discovering secrets of the physical world. Her research led to better X-rays and improved cancer treatment. Her life's work and success opened doors for other women scientists. In 1935, Mary Curry and Curry's daughter and son-in-law won a Nobel Prize in chemistry. 5R. Rue Perry et Mary Curry. Street in France named for Perry and Mary Curry. This is my favorite guy of all. His name is Mahatma Gandhi. Even though Gandhi's first name was Mohandas, people called him Mahatma, which means great soul. India was ruled by England for almost 200 years. That means Gandhi did not make the laws for its own people. India did not make the laws for its own people. Those laws came from England. Mohandas Gandhi didn't think that was right. Gandhi leads a protest in March 1938. Gandhi wanted all people to be treated equally. He wanted India to be free of British rule. He knew that violence would lead people to get hurt. He decided to create a way to protest peacefully. Followers led Gandhi would simply sit and wait for officials to change their minds. They showed no anger. They didn't fight back if attacked. They did not use bad language to show their determination. They fasted. This means they refused to eat or drink and to drink for a long period of time. With the help of Gandhi's non-violent movement, India broke free from England. The country declared independence in March 1947. Gandhi lived to see India's independence, but the following year, Gandhi was assassinated by a man who didn't agree with his beliefs. Gandhi's peaceful ways are still admired and copied by people around the world trying to change the United States. They were very important at civil rights at the moment. The future depends on what you do today. An eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Amelia Earhart. When Amelia Earhart was a child, airplanes were new and exciting. She was 23 years old when a pilot in an air show offered her a ride in his small open cockpit plane. Earhart wanted to look like a pilot. She cut her hair short to look like other women pilots she had seen. She also bought a leather jacket. She slept in the jacket for 3 nights so it wouldn't look so stiff and new. By the time I have got 200 or 300 feet and off the ground, I knew I had to fly. After scaring the most of the cows in the neighborhood, I pulled up in the farmer's backyard. Charles Lindbergh with his airplane. In 1927, Charles Lindbergh flew solo across the Atlantic Ocean. 5 years later, Earhart was the first woman to do so. She hoped to land in Paris, France, as Lindbergh had done, but thick clouds, strong winds, and an ice build-up for her wings forced her to land in pasture in Ireland. From then on, Reporters and photographers followed her everywhere. People couldn't get enough of Amelia Earhart. After her solo flight across Atlantic Ocean, Earhart was the first woman awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. Earhart believed that women could do anything men could do. She set many records for speed and distance, but she wanted to do something big, really big. She wanted to fly around the world. I have a feeling that's just about one more good flight in my system, and hope this trip is it. She decided to do it with a man called Newman, and had flown almost all the way around the world. Around the earth, when something happened, the plane disappeared while flying through the cloudy skies. Over the Pacific Ocean, no one ever found Earhart or Newman. Earhart and Newman with the map of the Pacific Ocean. Meet more explorers. Bye-bye, thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Go check out my next video when it's gonna come up. So, bye-bye, thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. After this, watch the video like Alvin and the Chipmunks. Bye-bye.